If you knew what restoring the golden ratio in this bone unleashes, you'd never ignore geometry again. There are people who spend their whole lives trying to align their chakras, balance their energy, manifest their dreams. You can visualize all day, practice gratitude, surround yourself with positive affirmations and high vibrations. But as long as this mathematical structure in your body remains distorted, your reality will stay locked into the same asymmetrical frequency. You feel out of sync, scattered, like you're swimming upstream against some invisible current. But the problem isn't your mindset. It's your geometry. There's a triangular bone at the very base of your spine. It holds a mathematical code, a geometric template so precise that most people never realize they're walking around with a distorted equation in their bodies. And that's exactly why nothing shifts. Because you're trying to manifest from perfection, while your foundational mathematics remain chaotic. This bone has been geometrically compromised for generations. But in ancient mystery schools, it was the starting point for every real transformation. A living mandala, a three-dimensional sacred form that had to achieve mathematical perfection before any higher work could begin. Today, you're going to discover 5 precise movements, direct, ancient, geometrically perfect. Each gesture restores proportion. Each pulse corrects asymmetry. It's not theory. It's applied mathematics. It's sacred geometry made flesh. And it's closer than you think right in your spine, where the golden ratio either flows or gets fractured. Almost no one talks about this because it doesn't fit the spiritual marketplace, because it requires mathematical precision, not just good intentions. Because it demands geometric awareness, not just emotional processing. The sacrum was named sacred for a reason, not by religious convention, but because it holds a mathematical code that no meditation, no mantra, no crystal can access. It's shaped as a perfect triangle, the most stable geometric form in existence. It sits at the precise golden ratio point of your spinal column, between the crown of your head and the base of your spine. Then from your spine to your feet, this proportion approximates 1.618, the divine mathematical constant that governs everything from galaxies to seashells. But most people keep ignoring it, focused on opening their third eye, while their foundational geometry remains distorted, creating mathematical chaos that ripples through every attempt at conscious creation. You need to understand why ancient geometers treated the sacrum as the cornerstone of cosmic proportion. In Egypt, it was the mathematical base of the Djed pillar, a symbol of geometric resurrection. For the Pythagoreans, it was the physical anchor of the golden mean, the point where divine proportion entered the material world. For Hermetic masters, it was the alchemical vessel where base frequencies transformed into golden consciousness, but only when its triangular perfection was geometrically intact. And here's what modern science confirms. When the sacral geometry is restored to golden ratio perfection, measurable changes occur in brainwave patterns, nervous system coherence, and even cellular organization. This isn't mystical thinking. It's applied sacred geometry. When you restore mathematical harmony to the sacrum, your entire energy field begins broadcasting a coherent signal the universe responds to as precision, not chaos. 5 movements. Golden ratio alignment. And your vibration becomes a mathematical command that reality has no choice but to honor. Before the mind was glorified as the seat of consciousness, the body was seen as a living temple built according to cosmic mathematical laws. In many mystery traditions, geometry came before philosophy. People didn't just think about divine proportion. They embodied it. Wisdom wasn't found in abstract concepts. It was found in precise movements, in breath patterns that followed Fibonacci ratios, in the way consciousness inhabited geometric space. Wisdom was mathematically embodied. In Platonic philosophy, we find the foundational truth. True reality exists in perfect geometric forms, and the physical world is simply a reflection of these mathematical templates. Plato taught that harmony comes not from emotional balance, but from geometric alignment, when the proportions of the soul match the proportions of the cosmos. For the Platonists, healing began with restoring sacred geometry to the body temple. It was spirituality with mathematical precision. Egyptian mystery schools carry this understanding at their foundation. Consciousness begins with proportion. Spiritual power moves through golden ratios. The body is not just flesh, it is a geometric instrument capable of resonating with cosmic frequencies when its mathematics are perfected. These traditions didn't separate the sacred from the geometrical. They knew that the greatest portals aren't found in ethereal realms, but in the precise mathematical relationships within your own spinal column. In Hermetic alchemy, the sacrum is the athenor, the vessel where base metal transforms into gold. But this transformation only occurs when the geometric vessel achieves perfect proportion. This is where raw experience becomes refined consciousness, where chaotic energy becomes coherent manifestation. This wisdom wasn't forgotten because it lacked value. It was obscured by a world that separated spirituality from mathematics, that reduced the body to mere mechanics instead of recognizing it as a living geometric instrument. But the mathematics still live in your bones, in those who still dare to move with precision, in those who still honor the equation before the emotion. For centuries, saying that geometric alignment could shift consciousness was dismissed as mysticism. But today, research in biomechanics, neuroscience, and even quantum biology is catching up with what ancient geometers knew through direct experience. Recent studies in sacred geometry and biophysics reveal that the human body functions according to specific mathematical principles. When the foundational structures, particularly the triangular sacrum, achieve geometric harmony, measurable changes occur throughout the entire system. Dr. Dan Winter's research in fractal geometry demonstrates that when biological structures align with golden ratio proportions, they exhibit what he calls phase conjugation, a state where chaos naturally organizes into coherent patterns. The sacrum, positioned at the mathematical center of your body's proportional system, acts as what Winter calls a geometric antenna, either broadcasting coherent signals or chaotic static, depending on its mathematical alignment. Neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza has documented how specific movement practices can induce elevated brain states and reorganize neural networks. When movements follow precise geometric patterns, particularly those based on the golden spiral, they create what researchers call gamma coherence, a state where different brain regions synchronize in mathematically harmonious ways. Somatic neuroscience, through pioneers like Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen, reveals that the body holds not just emotional memories, but geometric patterns. Movement becomes the key to restoring these mathematical templates to their original perfection. What ancient geometers called sacred proportion, modern scientists describe as optimal biological coherence. Different language, same mathematical truth. When your foundational geometry achieves golden ratio perfection, your entire system upgrades to function according to cosmic law. Movement isn't just physical, it's mathematical, vibrational, and demonstrably transformative at the cellular level. And science, even without calling it spirituality, is beginning to confirm the same truth. The body responds to mathematical precision with measurable coherence that extends far beyond local biomechanics. Now we begin the actual geometric recalibration. The first practice activates the horizontal axis of your geometric foundation, restoring symmetrical balance to your sacred mathematical center. This movement carries the intelligence of the lemniscate, the infinity symbol that appears throughout sacred geometry as the sign of perfect dynamic balance. Stand with your feet hip-width apart, knees soft, spine naturally erect. Feel into the triangular bone at the base of your spine, not as anatomy, but as a three-dimensional geometric form, a living mandala that serves as the mathematical foundation of your entire energetic architecture. Begin drawing the shape of a sideways figure eight using your hips. But here's the precise geometric key. Each loop of the infinity must be exactly proportional. The crossing point must occur at the exact center of your sacrum. The radius of each curve must maintain consistent mathematical relationship. This isn't random movement, it's applied geometry. As you trace this pattern, you're literally recalibrating the symmetrical relationships within your pelvic geometry. Breathe in the golden ratio. Inhale for 1 count, hold for 1.618 counts, exhale for 1 count. This synchronizes your respiratory rhythm with the mathematical frequency that governs all natural harmony. Practice for exactly 3 minutes in duration that creates optimal neuroplastic conditions for geometric repatterning. Notice how the movement begins to self-correct. Your body recognizes mathematical perfection and naturally adjusts to maintain precise proportional relationships. This is your geometric intelligence awakening, the innate capacity to organize according to sacred mathematical law. With horizontal symmetry restored, we now activate the vertical axis according to the spiral mathematics that govern everything from DNA to galaxies. This movement follows the precise proportional relationships of the Fibonacci sequence. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. Stand in the same position, geometric awareness anchored in your sacral triangle. Begin a gentle anterior and posterior tilting of your pelvis forward and back, but each cycle must expand according to Fibonacci proportions. Start with the smallest possible movement. Repeat that same degree, then double it, then expand by the golden ratio, continuing this mathematical progression. As you move through this sequence, visualize a golden spiral beginning to ascend from your sacrum through the central channel of your spine. This spiral follows the exact logarithmic curve found in nautilus, shells, and galaxy formations, a mathematical pattern that creates natural harmony at every level of scale. Each vertebra becomes a geometric marker, clicking into perfect proportional relationship with every other vertebra as the golden spiral establishes its ascending pattern. This isn't visualization, this is applied mathematical principle, using your body as the laboratory for cosmic law. Breathe into the spiral. As you inhale, feel it expanding according to golden ratio mathematics. As you exhale, feel it integrating this perfect proportion into your cellular structure. Continue for 5 minutes, enough time for the Fibonacci mathematics to establish stable neural pathways while remaining within optimal concentration parameters. Your nervous system begins to entrain to golden ratio frequencies, creating coherent brainwave patterns that mirror the mathematical harmony you're embodying. Now we work directly with the triangular geometry of the sacrum itself, activating its three-dimensional mathematical perfection. This practice accesses what geometers call triangular resonance, the capacity of three-sided forms to create perfect stability and strength with minimum material. Lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor, positioned so your body forms a stable triangular base. Place your awareness precisely in the sacral triangle, not generally in your pelvis, but specifically in the geometric center of this three-dimensional sacred form. Close your eyes and begin to sense the mathematical perfection of the triangle. 3 points, 3 sides, perfect angular relationships that create optimal structural integrity. Without visible external movement, begin rotating your consciousness around this triangular geometry. Move your awareness from point to point left ilium, right ilium, sacral apex, tracing the precise angular relationships that create the triangle's mathematical perfection. As you trace these geometric relationships with your consciousness, visualize golden light illuminating each angle, each side, each point of the sacred triangle. Feel how this mathematical form, when consciously activated, begins to broadcast its geometric frequency throughout your entire energy field. Each rotation clears geometric distortions, restores proportional relationships, and recalibrates your foundational mathematics to cosmic law. The key is mathematical precision. Maintain exact awareness of the triangular relationships rather than allowing your attention to drift into general pelvic sensing. Practice for 8 minutes long enough for deep geometric integration without mental fatigue. This practice develops what ancient geometers called dimensional consciousness, the ability to maintain simultaneous awareness of multiple geometric relationships within a single form. The fourth movement creates rhythmic activation that synchronizes your entire nervous system with golden ratio frequencies. We're working with what mathematicians call pulse-based fractals, rhythmic patterns that reproduce golden ratio relationships at multiple time scales simultaneously. Sit comfortably or remain lying down. Geometric awareness established in your sacral triangle. Place one hand on your heart, one hand on your sacrum, creating a direct energetic circuit between your emotional center and your geometric foundation. Begin breathing in a precise golden ratio pattern. Inhale for 1 beat, hold for 1.618 beats. Exhale for 1 beat. Pause for 0.618. Use a metronome or count slowly to maintain mathematical precision. The nervous system responds to exact proportional relationships, not approximate ones. On each exhale, create a gentle internal pulse from your sacrum upward through your spine. This isn't muscular contraction, it's conscious wave generation, like creating ripples in water through focused intention. Each pulse should follow the golden ratio timing: quick activation, sustained expansion, gentle release. As you continue this pattern, visualize golden waves ascending your spinal column in perfect mathematical rhythm, clearing energetic static and establishing coherent frequency patterns throughout your nervous system. The pulse creates what biophysicists call constructive interference, waves that amplify and strengthen each other rather than creating chaotic turbulence. Continue for 13 minutes, a number sacred to both Fibonacci mathematics and optimal neuroplastic integration. Your heart rate variability begins to synchronize with golden ratio patterns, creating measurable coherence between your heart, brain, and nervous system. This final movement synthesizes all previous geometric work into a unified mathematical field that establishes permanent golden ratio architecture in your energy body. This is the movement that thousands have been requesting, the practice that locks in all geometric adjustments and creates lasting transformation. Stand with perfect posture, every joint aligned according to golden ratio proportions from ankles to crown. Feel the complete geometric architecture of your body, the triangular stability of your sacrum, the spiral intelligence of your spine, the perfect symmetry of your horizontal axis. Begin the integration spiral. Starting from your sacrum, initiate a gentle spiraling movement that travels up your entire spinal column. But this spiral must follow precise mathematical law, each rotation expanding according to the golden ratio. The spiral begins almost imperceptibly small at your sacral triangle, growing larger and more expansive as it ascends, until it encompasses your entire energetic field. Move with mathematical devotion. Each spiral rotation must maintain perfect proportional relationship to the previous one. As the spiral ascends through your vertebrae, visualize golden light following the same mathematical pattern, creating a permanent template of geometric perfection that extends beyond your physical form. This spiral connects your restored sacral geometry to cosmic frequencies, establishing your energy field as a resonant antenna for universal mathematical harmony. Feel how each spiral rotation locks in the geometric work you've completed, sealing it as a permanent upgrade to your vibrational architecture. Continue for 21 minutes, creating sufficient time for deep geometric integration while honoring the sacred mathematical relationship between the Fibonacci sequence and optimal biological transformation periods. By the completion of this practice, your entire energy field operates according to golden ratio mathematics, broadcasting coherent geometric signals that reality recognizes and responds to as divine proportion made manifest. Marcus had always felt mathematically out of step with life, as if he were operating according to one set of equations, while reality followed completely different laws. Success required enormous computational effort. Relationships felt geometrically unstable. Every project seemed to meet resistance at precise, predictable angles. He functioned, but always with the sense that some fundamental calibration was missing, like a musical instrument slightly out of tune, playable, but never quite harmonious. It was during a particularly frustrating period, when every endeavor seemed to collapse according to the same mathematical pattern of diminishing returns, that he encountered sacred geometry not as abstract theory, but as embodied practice. At first, the idea that physical movements could restore mathematical harmony seemed too simple, too direct for someone who had been seeking solutions in increasingly complex systems. But something in the precision of the golden ratio called to a part of him that recognized mathematical truth when it encountered it. He began the geometric practices with skeptical curiosity, treating them as an experiment in applied mathematics rather than spiritual seeking. The initial sessions revealed subtle but measurable shifts in his posture, breathing patterns, even the way he walked through space. But gradually, over weeks of consistent practice, something fundamental in his operational mathematics began to change. The first sign was cognitive. Decisions that had required exhausting analysis became self-evident. Projects that had felt impossibly complex revealed their natural geometric structure. It was as if static had been cleared from a mathematical signal he hadn't realized was distorted. 6 months later, Marcus described his transformation in terms that would have been familiar to any ancient geometer. It was like remembering how to think with mathematical precision instead of emotional approximation. Everything I had been forcing started to flow along natural proportional lines. Not because I was trying less, but because I was finally operating according to the geometric laws that had always been governing everything. His relationships reorganized around golden ratio principles. His work began reflecting the same proportional harmony he had restored in his body. His story demonstrates the profound truth of geometric healing. When sacred proportion is restored to your foundational structures, it creates what mathematicians call a phase transition, a complete reorganization that appears miraculous but follows precise mathematical laws. The primary obstacle in geometric restoration isn't technical difficulty. It's the resistance of established asymmetrical patterns that have organized your entire system around mathematical chaos. When you begin working to restore golden ratio harmony to your sacral geometry, you're not just changing movement patterns. You're challenging the fundamental mathematical operating system that has governed your reality for years, possibly decades. This resistance manifests in predictable geometric patterns, physical discomfort that occurs at specific angles, emotional responses that arise when certain proportions are approached, mental confusion when mathematical precision is attempted. These aren't personal failures, they're mathematical inevitabilities. When any system begins to shift from chaos toward geometric order, there's always a period of increased turbulence as the old patterns fight to maintain their asymmetrical dominance. The key is understanding this resistance geometrically rather than psychologically. Trauma and dysfunction create what mathematicians call chaotic attractors, stable patterns of disorder that pull your system back toward familiar dysfunction, even when healthier. Geometric relationships are available. But sacred geometry provides the mathematical antidote. When you maintain precise attention to golden ratio proportions in your movement, you create attractors of order, geometric structures so inherently stable that they naturally draw chaotic systems into harmony. The practical application requires mathematical devotion. When resistance arises during geometric practice, don't abandon the proportional precision. Instead, breathe more deeply into the golden ratio rhythm. Move more exactly according to the geometric principles. Use the mathematical laws as your anchor, trusting that geometric truth is more powerful than the momentum of old patterns. Remember, every natural system faces resistance as it seeks its optimal geometric configuration, but the mathematical laws that govern harmony are stronger than any temporary resistance they encounter. This is why consistency in practice matters more than intensity. Daily geometric alignment gradually establishes new, mathematical templates that become more stable than the chaotic patterns they replace. What we're working with extends beyond classical mechanics into the realm of quantum geometry, the mathematical structures that govern reality at its most fundamental level. Recent research in quantum consciousness, led by physicists like Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff, suggests that consciousness itself operates according to geometric principles at the quantum level. Their work on orchestrated objective reduction demonstrates that microtubules in neurons organize themselves according to golden ratio mathematics, and that coherent quantum states in these structures correlate with enhanced cognitive function and expanded awareness. When you restore geometric harmony to your sacral center, you're not just affecting local biomechanics. You're optimizing the geometric templates that influence quantum coherence throughout your nervous system. Dr. Dan Winter's research takes this further, showing that when biological structures achieve what he calls golden ratio-based phase conjugation, they create measurable effects in their surrounding electromagnetic environment. In other words, geometrically coherent biology produces geometrically coherent fields that extend far beyond the physical body. This explains why restoring sacred geometry to your foundational center creates shifts that seem to extend into your external circumstances. You're not manifesting through intention alone, you're broadcasting geometrically coherent signals that interact with the mathematical structures underlying physical reality. From this perspective, the 5 geometric movements aren't just healing practices, they're tools for quantum field optimization, methods for ensuring that your consciousness operates according to the same mathematical principles that govern successful manifestation at every scale. This is sacred geometry made practical, using ancient geometric wisdom combined with modern quantum understanding to create measurable improvements in both subjective experience and objective circumstances. As you establish consistent practice with these 5 geometric movements, you begin to experience what ancient mystery schools called living geometry, a state where your body-mind system operates as a unified mathematical instrument. Your movements become naturally proportional. Your breathing spontaneously follows golden ratio patterns. Your decision-making reflects the same geometric principles that create stability and beauty in natural systems. This integration isn't forced, it's the natural result of restoring mathematical harmony to your foundational center. When the sacral geometry achieves golden ratio perfection, it functions as a geometric tuning fork, gradually bringing your entire energy field into alignment with cosmic mathematical law. The changes extend into practical reality. Projects organize themselves according to optimal proportional relationships. Conflicts resolve along natural geometric lines. Opportunities appear with the same mathematical precision that governs successful natural systems. To maintain this geometric integration, commit to daily practice of at least one of the 5 movements. Your body now knows the feeling of mathematical perfection. It will naturally tend toward geometric harmony when given consistent reminders of proportional truth. Morning practice of the golden infinity flow creates geometric stability for the entire day. Evening practice of the sacred triangulation integrates the day's experiences according to mathematical harmony. The key is treating these movements not as exercises, but as mathematics' precise applications of geometric law that become more effective the more exactly they're performed. From this foundation of embodied sacred geometry, every aspect of your manifestation becomes more mathematically precise, more naturally harmonious, more aligned with the proportional laws that govern successful creation at every level of reality. Your individual practice of sacred geometry doesn't occur in isolation. It contributes to what researchers in collective consciousness call the global coherence field. Studies by the HeartMath Institute demonstrate that when groups of individuals achieve heart rate variability coherence simultaneously, measurable effects appear in the Earth's magnetic field. When your practice restores golden ratio harmony to your personal energy field, you're adding mathematically coherent signals to the collective geometric field that influences global consciousness. This is why consistency in individual practice matters beyond personal transformation. Each person who achieves geometric coherence strengthens the mathematical templates that make it easier for others to achieve similar harmony. Ancient mystery schools understood this as geometric initiation, the responsibility of those who achieve proportional mastery to maintain their mathematical coherence as a gift to the collective field. Your restored sacred geometry becomes a beacon of proportional harmony that helps stabilize the mathematical structures supporting expanded consciousness for everyone. From this perspective, the 5 geometric movements are both personal healing practices and acts of service to the evolution of human consciousness itself. What has been revealed here isn't knowledge to be filed away. It's an invitation to be embodied. Because the body you live in holds mathematical codes, your mind will never decode on its own. And among all the geometric structures that support your existence, the sacrum is the most overlooked and perhaps the most essential. You no longer need to force alignment with the universe. You just need to move in the right proportions, in the right place, with the right mathematical precision. It's in that movement that your geometry shifts. It's in that movement that reality recognizes you as order rather than chaos. This practice doesn't require blind faith or complex beliefs. It requires presence and a willingness to return to the mathematical foundation where everything begins. And when you return, something clicks into perfect proportion. The body stops being a burden and becomes direction between knowing and living. There's a portal, and that portal begins where your feet touch the ground and where your sacrum begins to pulse in golden ratio perfection. As the great Hermetic axiom teaches us, as within, so without. The geometric perfection you have established within your sacral center will now begin to express itself through the mathematical structures of your external circumstances. To move the sacrum according to sacred geometry is more than a practice. It's a mathematical reactivation. It's the moment when spirituality steps down from abstraction and returns to embodied cosmic law. If this content stirred something in you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. It helps us spread this message and bring real geometric awareness to those who are ready to awaken their mathematical perfection. In the comments, write, "I am the golden ratio." This phrase anchors the practice, affirms the mathematical identity, and activates the geometric field around whoever writes it. Share this video with someone who needs to get out of chaos and into proportion, someone who might be seeking clarity but hasn't yet moved where the mathematics begin. Click on the screen and dive into another transformative video here on the channel. Because when you awaken the golden ratio in your foundation, the entire universe finds a new mathematical order to follow. If you're ready to take your awakening beyond the mind and into your body, there's a free presentation linked in the pinned comment that reveals a simple method to cleanse your pineal gland and support your activation. Open it in a new tab to learn more, then come back to continue your journey. We'll go even deeper in our next video.